What is going on, everyone? I am Paul Sabo. This is Jay Hamilton, and this is Punk with a Controller. You can catch us live Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We record a podcast where we go over what we've been doing throughout the week. We catch up with what we've been playing, what we've been watching. We break down what's up in the video games industry, some of the big topics, some of the big news that's happened. Then we end with a closing topic. It gives you more insight into who we are as gamers. If you've missed any of the prior episodes, you could go over to youtube.com/punkwithacontroller, where all 12 episodes are finally up now. We had a little issue with the last episode, but on top of that, if you want to go over to YouTube, twitch.tv/LordxHam or youtube.com/LordxHam, you could catch up on Jay popping domes and all the big first-person shooters, all the big PC games. He's streaming a lot of those on the weekends, and he's uploading a bunch of YouTube edits, so go and show him some love. And then on Mondays and Wednesdays, if you want to stick around here, I'm playing some of the bigger console games, some of those big launches. We just recently wrapped up a big Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart playthrough. That's been a whole lot of fun. I'm going to be playing some more of that this week, diving into the Platinum Trophy, just trying to get all I can out of that game. But on top of all of that, let's just get right into it, because I have had a long, long day. Jay, how was your week? On top of
My
a
week,
day.
my week had its ups and downs, but it was pretty chill. You know, the usual work, 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 all work, no play. But yeah, I just kind of like hung out. I mean, I like watched a lot of dumb television and fell asleep on the couch like 4 times this week.
It's the best. It's
It
really the
is,
best.
it is kinda, but skull.
The boot. Oh no, that's a horn. Can you only hold that? Is there no way to set that down, or did it come with a thing to set it down on?
Well, the one that they at the Viking Festival, they had one that had a stand. They wanted like $70 for the horn and
Oh my
20 for
god.
the stand.
Was it
And then
was
I'm
it
like,
actually a horn though? Was it at least a horn?
it it was, but I was like, hang on a second. That I've seen that before, and I looked, and they're on Amazon and like
20
on
bucks.
Instagram ads. So I found a woman that actually makes them for 35.
Bam.
And yeah, a woman made this.
Oh, that is a horn. Okay.
Yeah, it's a legitimate
Yeah, no,
drinking
when you were
horn.
holding it from a distance, it looked like it was just full filled with beer, so I couldn't tell. Is it
And
like
I got
the
this.
is it like the boot to where you got to turn it at a certain point when you're drinking it?
It's not that big. Kind of
Okay.
if you go with, see the flow. If you
Yeah,
go with
okay.
the flow, if you're going like this, you gotta
You're gonna
really.
get it all over your nose, and that's
I
dope
so
though.
I could fill it up like with one beer. I fill this up
All right, so
3 times.
you get about 12 ounces out of it.
Yeah, and like she had all different kinds of sizes, and Lady Ham was like, pick one that speaks to you. And I saw like, I thought this looked like an ocean, waves and clouds and stormy shit. So I was like, this is the one. But yeah, that went to the Viking Festival. I did that over the week. Last Sunday, it was like 94 outside, miserable as fuck.
I'm so
Like,
sorry.
and then all week at work, it was like the one day my buddy's like, "What do you think the heat index is?" I'm like, 98. He's like, 99. I'm like, damn. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry.
uh, no, you're good. Other than that, I've been watching this show with Lady Ham. She started it, and I hopped in. Manifest. You watch Manifest?
I've never heard of it.
Oh my god, it's a great show on Netflix. Basically,
Pull that up right now.
yeah, check her out. You read the synopsis, so I
No,
don't
but
like
no,
it.
tell me about it.
So these people are going on vacation. They went on vacation to Jamaica, and they were coming home, and all these people, like their groups got split, and they got like, oh, we got another flight with a discounted price if you guys want to take that. They're like, yeah, sure. And they get on the plane, and what seemed like it seemed like a normal plane ride, But then when they got back to the airstrip, it's been 5 years. And like, yeah, like they even like their family that was on the other plane, the normal flight that made it home first, like, yeah, they come home, they haven't aged or anything. It was just like a normal plane ride, and they come back, and it's 5 years later. And yeah, kind of wild.
Yeah,
Kinda
that's
whack.
was it? There's an M Night Shyamalan's next movie is coming out to Apple Plus. It's called The Call, I think, or something about that, something like that. It's a similar premise where like, you know, these people are on this family's on vacation, and it's like kind of newlywed, not really, and they got like, they've probably been married less than a decade, around a decade. They got a couple young kids, and they go to this beach, and fucking I just remember like in the scene in the trailer, like the son like goes around this corner, like he chases after a crab, and when he comes back around the corner, he's like 17 years old, 18 years old, and he's straight up like, "Mom?" like freaking out as if he hasn't seen her in a very long time. So yeah, no, weird M Night Shyamalan shit. It probably won't be that good, but no, it it was that was super interesting. So yeah, that kind of sounds like that. My week was it wasn't necessarily busy. It was just a bad week in the sense of, yeah, like the heat brought on the humidity because it's been like off and on rainy in Ohio all week, and I essentially work in a sweatshop. You know, I manage the back of a dry cleaner, so it was just so exhausting for the first 2-3 days of this week. And then for the last 2 or 3 days this week, I've just had a constant headache, like just a headache that has not gone away. And when you're in my position, physically, it's kind of concerning. And it really just brings everything down. It's one of those things where it's like, like, oh, I got a headache, like, should I go see a doctor or something? In your eyes, you're like, oh, it's just a headache, take an Advil or something. I've got a lot of issues with my head, so like when I have a consistent headache like this, it's got me a little freaked out. So yeah, on top of all that stress and all that pain, these last few days haven't been great. Fridays I got to open up at work, so I got to be at work, or I got to be at work basically by 6:30 in the morning, which fucking sucks. And then like I got off work later than I wanted to. I basically got off normal time any other day. And on the way, like, I was just like, should I take the highway home or should I take the side streets? Like, if I take the side streets, I'll just be way more calm, and I'll just get home in like a calmly fashion. But if I take the highway, I'll get home faster. But there's a chance I get stuck behind some dumbass, and it pisses me off. And yeah, I got stuck behind this motor home, and I don't want to get into the whole interaction, but it was a big road rage interaction between the both of us, and it set me in the wrong. It just put me wrong. I did not like it. Mainly because last week I was talking shit on my buddy Ralphie, who passed away recently, because I'm beating all of his scores in Steep,
Steep.
the video game Steep, yeah. And like me and this guy were at a red light eventually. We both got off the highway at the same exit. We were both going in the opposite direction. I was going right, he was going left. And I just kept thinking to myself, if fucking Ralph was here, he would have been like, throw it in park. Like, stop the car. Like, and he would have gotten out and he would have started fucking beating on the guy's window, and it would have gotten bad if Ralph was there. And I just kept thinking, God, I'm such a fucking pussy. God, if I wish I was Ralph, I wish I could have gotten out of my car and fucking freaked out on that guy like he would have. And so yeah, all that set me down the wrong path. And then I'm driving home and I get to an intersection, it's just a stop sign intersection. And I'm, like I said, I've been up super early, slept like shit, have had a headache for 3 days, just had this real bad road rage incident, got off work later than I wanted to, and I'm rolling through the stop sign. I'm like not even thinking about it. I'm like inches away from home. And Jay, I come this fucking close to hitting a kid on their bike. Like this
Lady Ham the other day.
like this fucking close. And like they were cool about it. Like I feel like it was more so adrenaline on their end where they were like, holy shit, dude, what the hell? And I was just like, oh my God, I'm like, I'm so, I don't know. I'm so sorry. Like, are you okay? Like, God. She's like, yeah.
You didn't pull a Dave?
No.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. I'm caught up on Dave.
Okay, well, we'll get to that in a moment. Just let me rant about my personal shit here for a minute. So yeah, like I just like apologize a bunch, and she's just kind of like just careful, man. And it's just like when she drove away, I was like, or rode away, I was like, a fucking 15-year-old just told me, or like a 15-year-old, I'm assuming, just told me I should be more careful. And it's like that is like the peak of like my day. And then I go to the bar and I just I'm sitting there because I forgot. This all somehow gets worse today, where I'm like, my grass needs to be cut. It's gonna rain any minute now. I gotta cut my grass. So I cut my grass. I start walking into the backyard, and last fall we had a guy replace our back door, and he left some old siding on the side of our house. And I've just been procrastinating, throwing it away, and I stepped on a whole rusted nail, like that big, like right into the foot, dude. Like I have my foot up right now, like it fucking hurts, or it hurt. Yeah, and like that was just peak of the day, and then like my brother pulls in, and I'm like, hey, I just stepped on a rusty nail, like should I go to the hospital and get a tetanus shot? And his ex-girlfriend was a nurse, so he texted her, and she was like, you could go to, if you've had a tetanus shot within the last 10 years, you're fine. But if you haven't, then, you could go to CVS or any pharmacy and they'll give you a tetanus shot. So I think about it, and I'm thinking like I had a tetanus shot when I was like 14, 15.
12.
I'm 25 right
is when you get a tetanus shot.
Well, no. I cut my arm on like a piece of metal or something when I was like 14 or 15, and my mom took me to the ER real quick. I was a freshman in high school. I remember that. Because John Safier kept on punching my arm. Thanks, John. But I'm thinking maybe that's too close to the cutoff. Like, maybe I should go get one. So then my mom calls me. She's asking me about some other bullshit, and I mentioned I'm like, hey, I stepped on a rusty nail. Like, she's like, oh, you need to go get a tetanus shot. I was like, haven't I gotten one within the last 10 years? She's like, I don't know. She's like, did you get one when you hit your head? And I was like, I don't remember anything from that week. And she's just like, well, you should probably go get one if you're not sure if you've gotten one. She's like, I got one when I broke my leg. The doctors gave you one when that happened. I was like, well, if the doctors gave you one when you broke your leg, then they had to have given me one when I, when I fucking broke my neck. And she's like, yeah, but you don't know. So call pharmacies, call CVS and everything, figure out if they offer it, how much it is, and blah, blah, blah. So I call. Not only earlier today did I have to call the IRS and call the Ohio State Unemployment and deal with all of them, everything is automated in robocalls. So all day I've been dealing with automation in robocalls, and Jay, it's fucking infuriating. Like, I know how infuriating it is, but it's affecting my financial situation. So yes, it is that was very annoying. And then I'm thinking in my head, I'm just going to call Drug Mart. Maybe there's a robo where I have to choose one to go to pharmacy. Dude, it is all automated. The entire thing. It got to the point where I'm screaming, give me a human, give me a human, give me a human. And just spamming a bunch of buttons to where the robot just gives me, a person, just gives me customer service. They patch me through to Drug Mart. Nothing. They don't offer tetanus shots. So then I call Walgreens. Exact same situation. You know, all automated. You know, I got to scream, "Give me a human!" Punch a bunch of buttons. Punch a bunch of buttons, and I ask if they give me or if they offer tetanus shots. They put me on hold for 5 minutes, and then they picked up the phone, literally went, and then hung up the phone. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? So then I call CVS, and if you're curious out there, just a heads up, there is no way around CVS's automated phone calls. Trust me. If you call CVS, you are forced to deal with their fucking robot fucking voice. So infuriating. So then I called Walgreens back, and they didn't offer tetanus shots. And they told, you know, I finally got through to them. They're like, we don't offer tetanus shots. Same thing as Dogmeat. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm fucking running the risk then. Like I'm hoping that the one I got 10 years, 9.9 years ago is still cool. Or I'm hoping they gave me one when I fucking fractured my skull. Because I'm like, you know, I'm not going to the ER. I'm not, you know, sitting 45 minutes for a tetanus shot and then getting a $900 bill for it. No can do. But I warned you, Jay, in text, I might rant about personal shit. On the topic of personal shit, if you had 25 more years, hypothetically, I know that's a long time, 25 years, but to live, if you had 25 more years, what would you do? Like, what's the top thing on your list? What are your goals?
I want to get married in Norway. And I want to be able to say that I traveled in Europe and parts of Asia. I basically want to see the world. And then cremate me and build a homemade rocket and send my ashes into outer space where it belongs.
Yeah, that's
I also have these daydreams of like becoming a private military contractor and just fucking shit up in a rebellion.
Just fucking shit up, yeah. But yeah, that's my, you know, with an aneurysm, that's my reality. Who was it? The dude from I keep wanting to say Mythic Quest, Mythbusters. That dude, he died of an aneurysm last year. He was in his 50s. Dr. Dre survived an aneurysm this last year. He was in his 50s. My dad's friend died of an aneurysm. He was in his 50s.
My cousin died of a brain aneurysm at the age of 27.
All right, so that's got me even more nervous.
But a friend that we went to high school with recently had a very major brain aneurysm, and he's doing fine.
Message me. I don't want to say any names. Just
I'll just
just message. Yeah, just message me. But yeah, no, was it like I said, I have a lot of fucked up shit with my head in the sense of, yeah, I got an aneurysm, and then I also have, I still don't remember to this day, I think it's called a Chiari malformation, something like that. I can't remember. But that's the main drive of my headaches. And I remember I was hanging out with Jared the other day. You would know Jared. He what up, Zero Town? No urgent care nearby. Medical bureaucracy and red tape is always so fun. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Where like I don't want to deal with that. But yeah, my buddy Jared came over. When we were playing. He's at my D&D party. And he was talking about how like there was this kid we went to school with where there was like this whole fundraiser and like charity raising for his Chiari malformation. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? I've had one of these for like 15 years. Where's my rally? Like that's bullshit. And
I texted you.
Okay, yeah, no.
On Discord, I DM'd you.
I pulled it up on my phone. No, I can't. Okay, I'll just pull it up later. But yeah, no, so that's all the boring, annoying, frustrating shit from my week. I don't know if I know him. Or at least I don't remember him. Was he in our grade?
Looks like Gary. Yeah, it looks like Gary Coleman.
Really? I do remember him now.
Lived up behind on the hilltop.
Yeah, he a real bad one, like a real bad aneurysm.
Yeah, he was in the hospital for a while. Found out today what happened, and all I know is that he said, "I can't smoke blunts anymore. I just smoke my dab pen now."
Okay, well, I thought you were about to say that you can't smoke anymore. Well,
No, he said he's like, "I just smoke my dab pen now. I can't do the nicotine. It hurt. It like fucks up his
let
brain."
me be honest. Is he like physically okay as far as you know? Because my whole thing is like,
Yeah.
that's the dream. I'd rather have my aneurysm go off 2 years from now, and I'm just fucked up for like a year, versus dying
I don't know.
20 years from now.
I don't know. I say get it looked at.
Oh yeah, no, that's a whole thing that I'm also procrastinating. But again, past all that shit, I literally have medical rant in my list.
Yeah, I see that.
But like I said earlier, I beat Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart on Monday, I believe. Again, like out of all of the games that are on PlayStation 5, even if you're like the biggest Souls fan and you want to play that Demon Souls remaster, no matter when you get a PS5, I cannot recommend this game as your starter more. I got a bunch of more screenshots that I'm going to be sharing more. They're just kind of hard to get on my phone from PlayStation's actual app. But it is just it is the most beautiful game I've ever played. It's one of the most fun games I've ever played. Like I just had a smile on my face the entire time, and part of that is because it is easily like the most humble game. Like I know Ratchet and Clank are best friends, and that's the whole thing. Like they're BFFs. Like they go through and through together. They are tighter than they have ever been in this game. And like every line of dialogue from Clank like hits me home so hard, just as like on a friend on friend scale. So like that game I cannot recommend enough. Insomniac has been utterly killing it these last few years. I won't be surprised if by the end of this console generation they surpass Naughty Dog as like the top dog, no pun intended, like the top dog developer that Sony owns, because every single game they have put out in the last decade has been absolutely phenomenal. Still watching Attack on Titan. It's getting there. It's getting there. It was starting to teeter for me. It was starting to get to some of them anime tropes, every line of dialogue's exposition. Here's some filler episodes that don't really matter. But these last 3 or 4 episodes, it's rare for me to be like, falling asleep on the couch and getting ready to go to bed and then be like, oh shit, it's like to be continued. It's like, I gotta watch the next one. I can't do it. It's very rare for that. Like the last time that happened for me was, I want to say, Tiger King. When I watched that premiere, I started that at like 11:30 at night, then it wrapped at like 12:30, and I was like, fuck, I gotta watch the second episode. Holy shit. So yeah, no, Attack on Titan, really fucking good. And yeah, let's talk about Dave a little bit. We're gonna talk slight spoilers for the first. I did not watch this week's episode. This last week, yesterday's episode, I think it would have been.
I didn't either.
Okay, so just up to that last really fucking weird episode, I think we could both say. How do you feel about it? Not necessarily that episode specifically, but just so far these first 3 episodes as a whole.
All right. So
you can talk about it in any order you want, but yeah.
All right. I don't think it's not like doing the same that like the last season did, but it has its moments. I really think and they're doing a very good job at like showing anxiety and just if I could describe the last 3 episodes, I'm like, I felt like I was gonna have a panic attack the whole fucking time. Like, they're really pushing the awkward shit.
The
And,
ants with just the ants in that final scene and that I think it was the first episode.
That scene when they're doing the auto tune, I was like, that's so awkward.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to, recapture shit, and it makes you feel sad. But after this last week's episode with the bleh and stuff, and it left off, I was like, all right, I think it's gonna start ramping up because it's not that good right now. Like, if we're talking slight spoilers, it's not that good right now because there's not a lot of music stuff going on. But after this last episode that you and I watched, I feel like it's gonna start picking up again. They're just trying to tie together what happened last season into this season.
Well,
and then
I want to pick up where you said they're not doing anything musically, and that's where they're they're faulting so far this season. I'm going to say that they're not doing anything so far, and that's the biggest fault of this season. What I've been describing lately is it feels like every episode I watch, I feel like I'm an episode behind.
Yeah.
For every episode I watch, I feel like I didn't watch the episode before it. The first
none of them
the first
feel like they connect or
the first episode of the season, he's in South Korea presenting at some music awards. And
I took a shit.
There is zero translation between the season finale of the first season and the season premiere of season 2. How we got
all right, the season finale of season 1 when he went off with Charlemagne.
Yeah, no, for sure. But
I was ready. I'm like, yeah, little Dicky, yeah.
That's all real. You could go watch that whole okay.
I know.
But there's no transition from point A to point B. Again, I feel like I completely missed an episode there. And so far for the last 3 episodes, the entire synopsis of the series is he can't make his album. He's lying about making his album, but he can't make his album. And that's fine and all, but there has been little to nothing else besides that.
Just a lot of pointless, what they're shooting for filler and character building, but it's not.
Yeah, but you don't speaking from an anime or just any other show's standpoint, you don't do filler as a season premiere. Your premiere isn't supposed to be filler. Look at
I felt like the first episode of this season was very out of place. It just didn't need to.
I felt like all of these episodes were out of place, especially this last one. The last episode was so fucking weird, and it wasn't like a homophobic thing on why it was weird. That wasn't it.
It was completely scenes out of left field.
It was out of place for the characters entirely, and it was going from fucking.
My thing was I was like, oh, they're tripping sacks.
Well, that's what I thought too. I thought what's his name was drugging Dave because they started off with you want to eat these. There was tacos or eggs or something, and then right before, right before then, Dave is totally normal with eating or with struggling to make this album. And then they start making tacos, and then after that, that's when everything ramps up to Bruno level shit. And again, it's not that I have an issue with any.
Laughed.
Yeah, no,
I loved it. I personally thought
when he fucking teabagged him in the shower and he was drinking fucking the water from his ass. Yeah, that was really fucking funny. But what annoyed me and really set me off was I felt like that all built up to the exchange between Gata and Token and them outside, where they're like, you guys are like, rich white dudes, like, you got to do this shit to like, make yourself feel, like out of bounds and like, out of line and shit. Cause like, this is all you can do. And like, I felt like this entire episode was building up to that one scene. And I just felt like, I was like, you didn't need to go that hard to get the message across. Maybe that's just what they wanted to do, but it was intense as well. I'll say.
Like, I found it funny and I loved it, and I thought it was hilarious. It just reminded me of watching like Wild Boys, but my like front window was open where you could see my TV, and I was like, these people must think I'm watching like porn or something. I'm gonna have to close the blind. Like, it got pretty rough.
I think I got Lil Nas X's next video playing on the screen right now. No, I mean, I'm comparing these first 3 episodes to the first 3 episodes of last season. They are miles between each other.
Yeah, they are.
Like, the first line of dialogue in the first episode had me. Like, I went into the show like kind of hesitant. I'm like, Lil Dicky, like, I'm like, this dude, like, he put out like one album like fucking like 5 years ago, and he just puts out like one song every 2-3 years. Like, like whatever. I don't really care about this guy. And then, like, from the first line when he referred to his pubes as his pubiscus, it was like the funniest fucking thing in the world to me. And like, just that whole exchange between him and the dermatologist was like the funniest thing I've ever seen.
They signed for 2 more seasons. I feel like it's going to get better after the last episode. I guess we'll have to see tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. The like, I described the first season as a trap Curb Your Enthusiasm. Like, it's like, like, it's all about, it's featuring, a bunch of like super modern like bougie ass bullshit. But then it's also got like, the trappings of like a Curb Your Enthusiasm, in the sense of, here's this bumbling idiot who like just goes with his own way. And yeah, that's why I liked it to begin with. And they're leaning more into that this season. They're even calling him LD. I don't even know why they're calling him LD. Lil Dicky, I guess.
Yeah, they called him that in the first one.
Did they? I thought they only called him in the second one.
Because they don't want to call him Lil Dicky. I just thought, like, in the first season when he was taking the picture with the dudes, he's like, "Are you telling me like I've been doing like a Crip gang sign in all my photos?" It just means my little penis. Like,
yeah. Yeah, I really hope this season does pick up, because so far it's not even like really in the same ballpark as the first season.
no, not at all.
But we'll see. I still got I haven't kept up with Loki at all. I still want to watch that. But let's get into the news here. We got a few stories. They're actually all pretty big. There's nothing really small here. Number 1, let's see here. This is over at the PlayStation blog. Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut arrives on PlayStation 5 and PS4 consoles on August 20th. What a year it's been as we approach the 1-year anniversary of Ghost of Tsushima. We are so grateful for the outpouring of love you've sent us since launch. It means so much to see how Jin's story has resonated with all of you, and we feel incredibly lucky to have such dedicated and supportive fans. So I just want to get into like some of the details on what's going to be coming in this expansion on top of the typical updates you would expect. You're going to get your 4K, you're going to get your 60 FPS. You're going to get the adaptive triggers and the 3D rumble and all the features from the controller. But on top of all that, you also get a new expansion. If you're a history buff, you may know that in addition to Tsushima, the neighboring island of Iki was also invaded during this time period. Today, we're excited to reveal the whole new chapter in Jin's journey is coming and will take place on Iki. In this new story, Jin travels to the island to investigate rumors of a Mongol presence, but soon he finds himself caught up in events with deeply personal stakes that will force him to relive some traumatic moments from his past. I am all fucking in for this game, or this expansion. I'm gonna, it's $19.99 to upgrade to the director's cut on the PS4, and it's $29.99 to upgrade to it on the PS5. I am totally going to do that. Shut up and take my money. This is one of those like annoying kind of like shut up and take my money kind of things, but I trust with Sony's expansion so far, with whether it be Uncharted Lost Legacy, Spider-Man Miles Morales, this, Final Fantasy VII Intergrade. I trust Sony's like price point in the sense of I feel like you can kind of gauge how much content you're going to get from each of these. Spider-Man Miles Morales was $60 and you got, or it was $50 or $60. I can't remember. I think it was 50 on PS4 and 60 on PS5. And you got about to the platinum trophy, you got about 15 hours of content there, which in my mind, that is all totally worth it, considering the content that you were getting. This game, or just back up real quick, Final Fantasy VII Intergrade with the Yuffie DLC, I still have to get to that. That's about $20 for the expansion, and you get about, I heard, between like 8 to 10 hours. So for $20, you get between 8 to 10 hours. This is a bigger, or quote unquote bigger game in Sony's eyes. So them charging an extra $10, I think you could expect to get about 8-ish hours out of this. Jay, what do you think about these kind of expansions that Sony's been doing?
Well, if they've been able to back it up, you know what I mean? Like with Miles Morales, I feel like they know their price points and I feel like they know their worth and they don't overcharge for it. And I think it's just another way to get people to buy the game again.
If
well, like, all right. Listen. So,
well, no, I'm just gonna say if that's the case, then you're right because I'm not. I mean, it's like it's not buy the game again.
You pay $30 to buy just an expansion for this game.
Yes. Because
if they announced that there was a brand new like DLC expansion and add all this stuff, you'd pay $29.99 for it. But since this is a director's cut, you're paying $29.99 for the whole game with the new shit. So I feel like.
Well, no, I mean, well, with in my current situation, which is which would be for 10 million some odd people. If I bought the game, or I bought the game on PS4 and I played the game on PS4, when I got my PS5, I was able to get the free PS5 upgrade to the game. Now it'll be $29.99 to add even more glamour on top of the game, add the expansion, add the haptic feedback and all those features. I'm not necessarily buying the game again. If I wanted to flat out, like if I was you, and I just got a PS5 and I wanted to buy the Ghost of Tsushima director's cut, then you would have to pay the full $60 or $70. I would imagine it's going to be $70 if you're buying it on PS5. But like I was saying before, it all depends on the content you're getting. And judging by, the price point and what the amount of content we've gotten from other Sony first party games, in that similar price point, I think we can gauge that we would get a good amount of time because personally, like everyone complaining about Spider-Man Miles Morales, you're like, oh, it's just an expansion. They're charging full price for an expansion. It is a 15-hour game, an entirely new story where you play as an entirely different character with an entirely different set of skills, entirely different enemies. Like all of these changes. It is a sequel in its own right. And yeah, like everyone everyone complaining that it's 10 hours shorter than the first game. It's like, motherfucker, This is what Sean Layden's talking about. But yeah, no, I'm excited for this. I can't wait to buy this. Last week we reported rumors that Ghost of Tsushima is coming to the PC, and going on our next story, it's going to be coming to PC. Story number 2. Sony acquires Returnal developer Housemarque and hints at Bluepoint. This is over by The Verge by John Porter. Sony has acquired Housemarque, the Finnish studio behind recent PS5 exclusive Returnal, the company announced today. It was announced with a tweet that suggests Sony might also be about to acquire Bluepoint Games.
Pretty sure they already did.
The studio behind the recent Demon's Souls remastered. Unless they made a post within the last couple hours, I don't think they said anything officially. In a blog post announcing the acquisition, PlayStation Studios head Herman Hulse said that the studio is one with incredible vision, capable of creating memorable new games that resonate with our community. Although Housemarque has produced games across multiple platforms, including PC, iOS, and the Xbox 360, the majority of its recent titles have been exclusive to the Sony platforms. Prior to Returnal, it was best known for Super Stardust games, which have appeared on PS3, PS4, and PSP. In a statement, Housemarque's co-founder and managing director, Ayari Kyutin, welcomed the acquisition, saying it gives our studio a clear future and stable opportunity to continue delivering a gameplay-centric approach while still experimenting with new methods of narrative delivery and pushing the boundaries of this modern art form. And then it says down here, so apparently PlayStation Japan uploaded the wrong image of this with their first tweet in Housemarque's acquisition, and it recently mentions a Bluepoint acquisition. Does it get into...
I'll be right back. I think I have bubble tea waiting.
Oh, I am jealous.
Sorry.
No, you're good. It appears when Sony's PlayStation Japan Twitter account tried to tweet about the Housemarque acquisition, it accidentally used a promotional image announcing the acquisition of Bluepoint Games instead. So, I am very intrigued by all of this. I'm a little concerned in the sense of, if you're familiar with Housemarque, they made the Super Stardust games, they made Dead Nation, Alien Nation, Resogun. These games, as you may know, a lot of them are twin stick shooters, they're arcade, they're bullet hells a lot of times. So the Returnal, as much as they did take from those games, they also did kind of stray away a lot from it. That could have just been the budget and, the publishing arm behind Sony moving them, but it could have also been them wanting to expand on what they were able to produce prior. I am really curious with what they're going to do. I'm concerned that they might drop doing these smaller arcade games all around, which would kind of suck because all of the, as much as I love Returnal, I still need to beat it. And it has been a game that has been on my mind since it came out. I just can't stress over this game enough. My only issue is I can't do anything else except this game. You can't even run Netflix or Amazon in the background without the game closing. It needs to be running, and it needs to be the only thing running. And that's what kills me. I basically need to beat the game in one day or just not play it. Sorry. So I hope that, they maybe are able to spin off a few of their other, break off a branch of their team and make, a smaller arcade, game that's has more resonance, with a Resogun or a Dead Nation. And then Bluepoint for me is the bigger one. I am putting it on the record right now. What is this? Episode 13. We're at 48 minutes and 29 seconds with the clipping and cutting out the beginning. We'll probably be at about 44 minutes, 45-ish minutes. This is me calling it right now. Bluepoint Games is working on a Metal Gear Solid remake. That's just confirmed at this point. It's not confirmed, but it's confirmed. I'm confirming it. Bluepoint is working on Metal Gear Solid, and that will hopefully be announced at Sony's next state of play, whenever that is. But I have a lot to say on what that could potentially be. This is all good news, and on top of both of these one acquisition and one potential acquisition, it's a true acquisition. They just, I don't think, wanted it to get in the way of Housemarque's announcement. We go over to IGN, where Joe Screbbles announces that PlayStation acquires Nixxes, a PC porting specialist. PlayStation has acquired Nixxes, a Dutch studio that specializes in porting games to PC. Announced by head of PlayStation Studios Herman Hulst, Nixxes has been bought for an undisclosed fee, as has Housemarque, which has really rattled my brain a bit. The studio will provide high-quality in-house technical and development capabilities for PlayStation Studios, according to a press release. Nixxes has worked extensively with Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, and Ion Interactive since forming in 1999, porting the recent Tomb Raider trilogy and the two most recent Deus Ex games to PC. While no specifics have been given about Nixxes' work for PlayStation, it feels likely that the studio will support Sony's increased focus on porting its console exclusives games to PC. Now, Jay, are you here?
Yeah, I've been here, boy.
Okay, sorry, I got the news in front of me, so I had to look over. So a lot of the big hardcore Sony pony fanboys have been getting so wee butthurt about PlayStation games coming to PC. Before I get into
times,
before I explain why I think that's a good thing, what do you think about PS5 PlayStation games finally starting to make the move?
bring it on, because it's gonna run better on the PC.
All right, drops his mic.
No, all right, or what these console kids don't understand is the power behind a PC. Like, we've all on the PC side of things have had a PS5 without a haptic feedback controller for. Like,
Jay, I just want to pause you and your PC elitism here for a moment. The PC go has been killing me for years. Now, don't get me, that's a fly. Don't get me wrong, you guys had us last gen. The PS3 or the PS4 and the Xbox One. Those things undoubtedly launched, with out of gen, with delayed innards. Whereas this current generation of consoles, they are very powerful. They are nothing to shy at. These consoles are just as powerful as any $1,000 PC you would go and buy at a Best Buy. And that is just the straight up truth, because they could do 4K 60. You need power to do 4K 60. And the selling point with these new gen is the same thing that's been the selling point with all gen is, yeah, you could buy, a $1,500 PC and get, more power than next gen. But that's just buying this boy right here. You also need the monitor to run all of that. A nice monitor is going to cost you damn near as much as the console. You need peripherals. There's all this stuff that goes into the PC Go that everyone, kind of let's slide out, let's dribble. And I just want to say, if you got a 4K TV and you're looking into an Xbox and a PS5, you are in the money. You are not going to be getting anything less than anyone else is getting right now. Like, I'm not speaking for 3 or 4 years from now. 3 or 4 years from now, the PC, that's when they're gonna have surpassed us. But as of right now, I would say everything is pretty equal.
Well, My PC is my mobile command center, so all of my financing and all my stocks work and all my emails and all my programs, like I just like PC because it's a jack of all trades. I can't check my email and pay my bills on my PlayStation now, can I?
Well, we're talking about gaming, Jay. We're not talking about
But
life and adult shit.
no. But it's a win-win with the PC.
I,
Like a
I
lot of
get
people, a lot of people forget that it's a computer, not just a gaming People are like, oh, it's $2,000, and then I had to spend $3,000.
a lot of people just
on all
have a
this shit.
notebook. They go to what is it right here, $160. It's a fucking Google Chromebook, Asus. 2020. It came out in 2020. $160.
No, I'm
Yeah,
just kidding.
it's not.
I don't
It's
mind
not.
the games coming
Yeah,
to
it's not.
PC
You know,
because
it doesn't have any power, but you know that's why I got it. I didn't get it for power. I got it for all the. You know, I got it so I can take notes for the show and D&D and you know check emails and stuff like that. So you know when I'm talking specifically for gaming, exclusively for gaming, I don't need fucking 32 gigs of Corsair Vengeance, a Ryzen 9 3900X. I don't need fucking 2 Evo Pluses for checking email. Like I get that. You know, like that's all overkill. That's all for the PC game. But to run 4K games at 60 FPS, you need a powerhouse, whether you have a PC or a home console. And
or you run it at 1440p at like 100 and ungodly amount FPS and have just an even more smooth, beautiful looking experience. Because I personally could care less about 4K. Anything I could give a fuck less. I'd rather run 1440p or a 1080p 240 hertz monitor. I'd rather run that.
Yeah, that's where you get into the niche. Like I can respect 144 FPS. I can understand where like, you know, people like you, people who are fucking in the co-op or in like, you know, the competitive shooters. I can understand and respect why you want that. But for me, just trying to find a good balance between the two, and for, I would say, the massive, you know, the majority of gamers, you know, if you take a guy who's been playing on Xbox One and Xbox 360 his entire life, and then you put him in front of a 4K TV and give him 60 FPS, he's not going to fucking care about 100 FPS because 60 is so much different. Because that's the other thing, is the higher you go, the significantly less noticeable it is. Like 30 to 60, 30 to 60 is like a fucking flash in front of your face. It is insane how noticeable it is. It's like, wait, what just happened?
Oh, huh? Yeah, I know.
And then 60 to 100, it's like you're sitting there and you're like, okay, well, okay, it's like okay, this is smoother, but I also notice the resolution's gone down a bit. And then you go up, you know, to 120, and then it's like, okay, this is a little smoother, and the resolution's gone down a lot. And then you go up to 144, and then it's just like what is it? Does this look better? And it looks worse graphically. It looks better, you know, frame wise, I think. That's where you got to get.
Human eye can only see between 30 and 60 FPS.
Well, there you go. Why you fucking want him on 144 so badly then?
So I could fucking 360 no scope your ass before you fucking see me.
But no, like that balance, like, and I also like. Have you played 4K 60, like native 4K 60?
At TwitchCon.
Because I feel like people who say like, oh, it's no big deal, haven't sat in front of a 60-inch TV with surround sound and played Ratchet and Clank at 4K and 60 FPS with ray tracing. Because it is something. It is something else. And I notice all the resolution, and personally, like, I am fine with that. Like, I am fine with that perfect balance. But we are ranting, just like I said I didn't want to do. Like I wanted to say is why I think PlayStation games coming to PC is good is because Sony doesn't make a lot of money. Like, if you guys want them to keep up with Xbox and what Xbox is about to be putting out for these next few years, Sony's got to have money, and they don't make a lot of money. They put out okay phones that no one really buys. They put out good TVs that some people buy, and then they put out the PlayStation which is easily their number one market. It is like, without a doubt, no questions asked, it's the PlayStation. So all the more money they can get in their hands, great. So that's one reason why it's good. The other reason is because if they're acquiring companies like Nixxes, where it's a PC porting company, where Nixxes has literally said they don't want to make their own games. They only want to port them. That is what they exist for. That says to me that Guerrilla Games is no longer going to have to work on porting Horizon Zero Dawn 2. Kojima is no longer going to have to work on Death Stranding porting. Kojima's not going to have to work on porting Death Stranding. Bend isn't going to have to work on porting Days Gone. This company and other studios will be able to port that for them while they can progress in their actual games. So this is only good. They only are going to get more money, and they're only going to be able to turn out their own products quicker versus delaying them so they could put out these ports. And for any concerns out there, in the sense of oh, I just bought a PS5 and I have, this big lug of a PC. Are all these games I just bought this PS5 for now just going to come to PC? Like, what the hell? They're not going to do that. Like, I promise you now, they will never do that. They are going to get the sales for their game on the console, and then they'll port it to PC. That is what they have done for all these other games.
There's some games that'll probably never come to PC, like God of War.
God of War, I still think is up in the air. I still think that has potential to come to PC, just because it's weird, because you almost think the bigger ones you would want to port to PC, and you'd want to keep the smaller, it's almost like you would want to keep a Ratchet and Clank and a Ghost of Tsushima on a PS5, and you'd want to port a Last of Us and God of War, because those are the games that everyone sees. Those are the games that everyone wants to play. As much as everyone wants to play Ratchet and Clank, fucking everyone wants to play Naughty Dog games. There are kids who are selling their consoles and everything they got so they could buy the opposing console and one game. So yeah, they know that. They're smart and they know that. Horizon Zero Dawn came to consoles in 2019. That the game initially launched at the beginning of 2017. So, and they put the game out on PlayStation Plus for a month, sometime in that time frame. So anyone who currently had a PS4 had any interest in playing Horizon, played Horizon then, or was, had it and was, that's it. There was no more sales. So yeah, they ported it to PC. Days Gone didn't do too hot, wasn't selling too well, ported to PC pretty soon. Ghost of Tsushima, that's the one that's got me a little curious, because I know that game has done very well. But also it's a new IP, so it's not very notable. It's not a God of War. It's not a Last of Us. It's not an Uncharted. So I could see that one coming. But let's get on here to the next story here. Story number 3. Oh my God, fucking Jeff Grubb. Jay, I gotta grab a beer, so if you wanna just kind of party out for a minute, give me a second.
Party out. All right, we're having a party.
Oh, that's good.
Buy a PC. Play the good games on the PC. Yeah, PlayStation, Xbox, suck a dick. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Oh, he's back. He's back.
All right. I am sick and tired of saying Jeff Grubb's fucking name. I feel like
Let's just not credit the asshole. Fuck him.
I don't know if he's an asshole.
You're named after something they eat on Fear Factor.
It's an asshole move. Hideo Kojima's deal with Xbox reaches key milestone. Hideo Kojima and Microsoft have signed a letter of intent that states the two parties intend to work out the details on a publishing agreement for a new Xbox game, according to sources familiar with the matter. This is a key step in the negotiations between the Metal Gear Solid creator and the Xbox company. This signifies that both parties have agreed to a generalized deal, with lawyers continue hashing out the finer points. Microsoft and Kojima's team have spent months discussing a possible partnership, and now it is more likely than ever that those conversations will bear fruit. The deal is so close that Microsoft has begun preparing for what Kojima will need to make his new game. Last week, Microsoft announced that it had hired Portal and Left 4 Dead developer Kim Swift to oversee partnerships for cloud-based games. Swift most recently worked at Google's cloud gaming service Stadia. Microsoft hired her with the purpose of assisting in Kojima's cloud game A Reality. Jay, I really hope this. I never thought in my whole life I would want to stop talking about Hideo Kojima and Silent Hills and all of this shit, but I really wanted to just come to an end and actually see something. I've been saying for a while, I don't believe Jeff Grubb. I don't believe everything he says. I think he's a big mouth and he wants everyone to believe what he says. And deep down, I have this little conspiracy theory where this fucking, look at this face. This motherfucker knows Jeff Grubb, and he knows he's an insider, and he knows if you give this guy information, he's leaking it. So there's a part of me that wants to believe that someone at Kojima Productions is just fucking with Jeff Grubb. Like hard. I don't believe that at all. I said this before. This is true. I believe all of this, but I still take it with a grain of salt because Jeff Grubb has been wrong in the past, and he acts like he's right on all accounts, even though some other people get shit for it. But I said this last week. He's really picky with his words. He said Elden Ring wasn't going to be at E3, but it was at Summer Games Fest the night before E3 officially started. And he said, see, I told you it wasn't going to be at E3, when really it was totally fucking at E3. I feel like, this game is going to be announced multi-platform, and he's going to be like, see, I never said he was working on an exclusive. And like some shit like that. And we know that there was before we even started this whole podcast, before this whole shitstorm, we know that not Hideo Kojima, but PlayStation and Xbox started working on cloud gaming together. They started working on a form of cloud gaming together. So what if this game is just multi-platform and Xbox is producing it through xCloud and it's going to come to everything? Again, I don't know. This is all speculation, all grain of salt. But I am very hesitant on everything about what this article insinuates. Jay, I know I keep passing Hideo Kojima to you, and I feel bad.
Never played any of his games. Never had a little tinkle of urge to play any of his games. But I'm along for the ride.
Were you in the bathroom when I confirmed Metal Gear Solid Remake?
Yeah, that's what you said.
Okay, yeah, no, yeah. Confirming
Not
Metal
as good stealth game as Manhunt. I'm just kidding.
I was about to say, there would be no Manhunt without Metal Gear Solid, friend.
Or Wolfenstein.
He invented the stealth genre. But I'm done with Hideo Kojima. Hope for him the best.
Finally.
Actually, just one more note. If this game is exclusive to Xbox, this might be the biggest loss Sony's taken ever. And I'm not joking. That's not like an exaggeration. Like, I'm serious. Like, this might be one of their biggest losses ever. If his next title does not come to their console at all. And what that would say to me is that Sony didn't even fight for Kojima, or at least like attempt to fight for him. You would give this guy whatever he wanted. The only argument I have outside of this is maybe, Sony didn't have what he wanted. Maybe he needs Xbox's cloud gaming and their infrastructure with streaming for whatever crazy ass project he's working on next. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm actually Hassan Karaman, so I'm curious on what's going to happen with this next game. Sticking to fucking Konami and Kojima somehow. Over at Polygon, horror developer Bloober team partners with Konami. The studio is behind Silent Hill. Bloober team, the developer of Layers of Fear and Blair Witch, have entered into a new partnership with developer and publisher Konami. The two companies announced on Wednesday. In a statement about the partnership, Bloober team explained that the two companies will share information and technology, and more importantly, they'll work on jointly developing certain projects. Polygon has reached out to both companies for further comment about these projects, but did not receive an immediate response. While the details of the partnership remain somewhat vague, Silent Hill fans have began to speculate about whether the two companies will revive the series. Bloober Team's focus has always been centered in horror games. Konami isn't doing much with Silent Hill at the moment, or any of its other franchises, but that seems to be besides the point. Apparently, Silent Hill fans have already envisioned a connection between Konami's legendary horror series and Bloober Team, as Silent Hill started trending on Twitter shortly after the partnership was announced. Jay, I am very, very, very concerned. Are you familiar with Bloober Team at all, with Layers of Fear or Blair Witch or The Medium?
Yeah, Layers of Fear was fucking banger game.
Layers of Fear was cool. Everything else fucking sucks. It's really bad. It's actually like
even the sequel to Layers of Fear.
It is not good. So why on God's green fucking earth they would choose to give Silent Hill to Bloober Team is astonishing to me. I really hope there's like a Todd Phillips style shift with this series. We're like, yeah, the guy who did The Hangover and Old School? Well, he's doing the Joker. And you're like, what? He's going to fucking do some dumbass bullshit with it. And yeah, it gets fucking nominated for an Oscar. Like shit like that. I really, really hope that there's something like that here. Because this team, and I see a bunch of people being really excited to see what you're working on, Bloober Team. Like, good for you. Get that work. Like, you fucking tore every single one of their games apart. Why are you so psyched for them now? You just don't want to be someone hating on them. Like, no, go ahead and hate on them. Hopefully that'll drive them to make something good. Because I'll tell you one thing, if they're working on Silent Hill, they better be feeling some pressure. Because I want to argue that right now, there are fewer games that if you were to announce that you're working on, you gotta do something amazing with. I would say Silent Hill, I would say Half-Life 3. I would put it in that camp.
Mercenaries 3.
I would put it in that camp. I mean, Do you have any concerns with them working on? I know you said you're a Layers of Fear fan. Do you have any concerns with them working on Silent Hill?
Um, if they're not the sole people working on it, because it said that they'll be working, in tandem,
Yeah,
right?
there's rumors that they're working on a Silent Hill project, not the Silent Hill project. Apparently, another very prominent Japanese developer is working on a Silent Hill project.
I wonder who that could be.
I honestly don't know. I really don't know. Um, Konami would not partner with Kojima directly. There is no way in shape or form that would happen. Was it Kojima literally looked in the camera in an interview after Metal Gear Solid and said, "Fuck Konami." Like like they are done working directly together. Now, if Konami was to license Silent Hill out to PlayStation, and PlayStation was to give Silent Hill to whomever, that's a different story. But they don't own Kojima, so they would have to consult with him on their own. This is concerning for me personally. And Sony's been making a lot of big moves lately, and they've all been silent. And before we get on to the next story, because our next few stories are all pretty short, and they're kind of all just get hype or go crawl in the corner and cry. Um, Jay, we've been talking about how like Sony's state of play after E3. It's gonna be banger. Like you thought Xbox's press conference was gonna be banger. Do you think their next showcase is gonna make or break the excitement for their console for the PS5?
I think they specifically waited for E3 to watch what everyone else did. That's why they haven't announced a date for it yet. It's just kind of still up in the air, but we know it's coming. Like I have
Yeah,
a feeling it will make or break, and it will make.
well, that's my thing is we know it's coming, but we don't know what's coming. And
Or
I
when.
well, I have this strange feeling that as much as all of us want the PlayStation blog post, the tweet from Herman Hulst, whatever it is, as much as we all want it to be, the next Sony State of Play is July 8th, 2021. Come join us and see the future of next gen gaming. This is going to be an hour-long showcase of, what we want to bring to you and this console and, the future of the PS5 and suck our dicks and blah, blah, blah. As much as we want it to be that, with how Sony's been this last year, I could totally see it being, hey, we got a deeper dive into Horizon Zero Dawn for you, and also a few updates on some games you already know about. And then you get a 30-minute state of play. You get like 10 minutes of Zero Dawn that ends with a release date. You get a Last of Us Factions, and then you get some other fucking bullshit, some indie games. And like that's it, and it's a half hour and it's done. I could totally see as much as I don't want them to do that. I could totally see them pulling some shit like that. And that's what I mean by make or break it, because if they do that, my excitement is going to fall quite a bit. Because I, at the very least, expect to see the next God of War. What about you?
Um, I don't know. I think because of the praise that Xbox got for theirs, they can't undersell. They physically, financially meant they just can't do that. And there's got to be a reason why they're doing this so long after E3. They had to have been like, let's watch everyone and do what they didn't do. Like, let's try to beat Xbox. Let's try to not be like fucking Gearbox, weird ass fucking bullshit. Like, They're like, let's just give the people what they want.
Yeah,
I don't know.
the next state of play is going to be Herman Hulst and Shuhei Yoshida bugging Pedro Pascal on the Last of Us movie set. It's no, I do think for me at least me personally, if it's all going to come down to the post even before state of play. Because they will either clearly state what to expect right then and there in the post, or they'll just be like, hey, got a state of play happening for you next week. Look forward to it. And if that's the case, I'm going to be like, oh, baby. They aren't giving time frames. They aren't giving, details on what it's pertaining to. Let's fucking go. And I do expect a lot because they have been so silent for so long. And this week, these few stories that we've touched on here are, again, just a few. There have been a plethora of Sony stories to come out and PlayStation stories to come out this week. And I think that, that's so that they don't have to boggle up their state of play with any of this information. They don't have to take 5 minutes to be like, yeah, here we acquired Housemarque, we acquired Bluepoint, we acquired Nixxes. We acquired all these. We could just, skip all right over that. All that already. Here are games. That's my hope. I don't know. You got any final thoughts?
I don't know. Better not fuck up, Sony.
Better not fuck up. This is a sad, sad story. I said goodbye today to River, who most of you know as Fallout 4's Dogmeat. Heartbroken doesn't cover it, but I won't eulogize her here for Twitter. I thought it'd be appropriate to look back at her impact on the game. Plus, writing about the game dev hurts less than grieving. And he does a big thread. I would recommend going and reading it. It's really sad and really heartwarming, but it's really sweet. And there's a lot of really, really, really awesome pictures of this dog. So if you want to smile, go and don't even read a word and just look at all the pictures of this big fluffy girl. And if you want to cry yourself to sleep at night, then you could go ahead and read this whole story because it's quite sad, but it's also heartwarming. It's sad in a good way. God, she's so cute.
I just remember the original Dogmeat.
Stinky. Yeah.
I just remember that being like like you could get a dog. I'm like, really? Like how?
Oh, he's down with getting a dog. But yeah, R.I.P. River. I'm sure you were a good girl. Jay, we got I figured we'd put these at the end after that because I didn't want to end on the River story. I wanted to go out on some high notes. Rockstar co-founder Dan Houser has founded a new studio as spotted by users on GTA forums and French publication Rockstar Mag. Last week, Houser registered a new UK company called Absurd Ventures in Games, which is officially incorporated on June 23rd. Jay, what are they gonna do, man?
He's gonna like make all of his fucking games he wants to make that no one wants to let him make. So he's gonna make Manhunt 3 for me.
This dude,
because Absurd Ventures in Games. That's the name of the company.
Dude, like this dude is Larry David rich. He has hundreds of millions of dollars. He's in his 50s. He could have retired 25 years ago. And yet he's still in the fucking business and he formed his own studio. I pray to God within this next week we get a little article that Sam Houser left Rockstar. And he goes and joins his brother. I hope we learned that Laszlo, because we know Laszlo left a few months back. I hope we learned Laszlo went and joined Dan. Because, dude, Honestly, that would say so much. I feel like that means that like 2K and Take Two kind of had like a stranglehold on Rockstar almost, to where like they weren't able to make what they wanted to make.
Yeah, they're just like, you're gonna make Red Dead and
GTA,
Grand
and
Theft
that's it.
Auto, and that's it. That's it. And then you're gonna keep milking that fucking cash cow as long as we can.
You're gonna work 100 hours a week doing it too, bitch. And then Dan Hauser fucking checked his bank account one day. He's like, wait a minute, I could buy my own studio, and then I could close the studio down and still be fine. I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna go build my own game studio and see what happens.
And it's not like he's not filled with great ideas.
He has been the creative director and the writer of every Rockstar game since Grand Theft Auto 3. So I am going as far as to say that he's probably he's a good one for the job. And story number 7, going down on a down note, GTA 6 will reportedly only be out in 2025 and will include Fortnite-like evolving map. This is over at GameSpot. It has been more than 8 years since the last launch of a Grand Theft Auto game, which is the longest gap between games in the series' history by considerable margin. One leaker with a solid track record has shared some information. However, that says wait until Grand Theft Auto 6 releases won't be over until 2025, something which Take-Two's statement during a recent shareholder event backed up recently. I don't even know if I muted. Did I mute? No, I didn't mute. Okay, my bad.
I was weak. It sucked.
Fuck you. It's no wonder they're bringing GTA 5 to PS5 and Xbox Series X. Tom Henderson, who previously leaked Call of Duty and Battlefield 2042 details, has released a new video in it, he claimed that GTA 6 will be set in a modern-day version of Vice City. This turns contrary to previous reports that GTA 6 would be set in the 1980s, with Henderson claiming that developer Rockstar wants to ensure as much freedom as possible for its staff when it comes to creating content for GTA Online. Henderson also discussed a potential for GTA 6 map to change over time, similar to how Epic Games regularly overhauls its Fortnite map during end-of-season events. There was also a mention of GTA 6 having multiple playable characters, something which GTA 5 introduced in the series when it first came out. Even if these rumors are true, fans are going to be in for a long wait due to several factors. Henderson said that Rockstar has placed a greater emphasis on employee well-being, and in the wake of several reports detailing the crunch work conditions that were implemented before Red Dead Redemption 2 came out. I'm going to stop right there. It doesn't go on much longer. That's basically the gist of it. Jay, what do you think about GTA 6 not coming out until 2025 and going to have an ever-evolving map?
I think it makes sense, the time gap, if it's going to be a huge game. B, the evolving map is stupid because I don't. What the fuck, you want my single player experience to be a live service experience?
Like, what are you gonna
no,
do?
that's oh cool. A hurricane came and wiped out the map. Cool. Like, what else are you gonna do? It's fucking Florida. And the other thing that pisses me off is that I'm sick of San Andreas, Liberty City, and Vice City. Like, can we get a little original?
Go to
And give me, like,
Texas.
that's what I literally was just gonna say. Texas would be great, and like have the border of Texas and Mexico, and like have a whole cartel influenced game. Or
Go up the north. Do
make
the same thing, but with
make
Canada. You establish
no,
Canada with North,
they already
whatever,
did.
in
They already
GTA
did
5.
London. They already did London 1969.
We'll go back to London. That would be
Yeah,
awesome.
London. London would be sick. Or
Modern
Paris.
day.
Or and even I don't even care if it's like Sleeping Dogs. Like if I get like a
Not that
know.
many guns, but when you get a gun, it feels really special.
Well, I mean like that backdrop.
Oh, all
of
right.
China.
Never mind.
But like, or Tokyo would be a
Yeah.
sick Grand Theft Auto game. But like, I'm just sick of like them rehashing. Like they're literally doing the original 3 trilogy over again, which I understand why. But like, stop saying like this is Grand Theft Auto 6. because 3 Vice City and San Andreas, that's a 3D universe. Then you have 4, 5, and then whatever 6 is going to be, which is a completely different
It's the HD universe. It's the HD.
And stop making sequels. Like, literally, if they came out and was like, this is Grand Theft Auto reimagine, but and it's like, oh, it'll have 3 playable characters like GTA 5. Well, that was cut from San Andreas. You were supposed to have 3 playable characters in San Andreas, but they cut that back in the day. Same with skateboards and scooters. But like, I don't know. I'm honestly like, they're my favorite games, but I'm so sick of it right now. I wish they would stop service on GTA Online, even though they won't, because that's a cash cow. Get rid of Red Dead Online.
Ugh,
Give me a fucking give me an Undead Nightmare and the story DLC that you've been saying I was gonna get from GTA 5 for like 10 years now.
Oh, that's never gonna happen. I'm what so we've they said, this goes against previous reports that GTA 6 would be set in the 1980s. We've heard multiple reports that it would take place in multiple different times. And I wonder if both of these leaks are technically true, and maybe what they mean by, an ever-evolving map in the sense of, the first season of the online, if you will, it's going to be, the modern Vice City that you play at in the single player campaign. But then the second season, that's going to take you to the 80s. And then the third season, that's going to take you to the 40s. And that's how they change the setting. That could be cool, but that is an insane amount of work. Because, like, one of the most annoying memes that I've, like, seen is, like, it's a picture of, like, GTA, like, 3, Vice City, San Andreas 4, like, Max Payne 3, and, like, Red Dead Redemption. And it's like, they put all these games out in, like, 10 years. And then they put in like GTA like 4 or Red Dead Redemption, GTA 5, and whatever, the meme. They're like, they only put out these amount of games in, the same amount of time. And it's just like, do you understand the size of these games?
Do you understand that while they were working on 3, they were working on Vice City, and while they released Vice City, they were working on San Andreas, and that is possible.
They were working on Red Dead Redemption 2 for 11 years. And do you understand the scale of Red Dead Redemption 2 versus the scale of Grand Theft Auto 3? Not a physical scale like by kilometer, but
just go on
a size of the game.
GTA 3.
Yeah, it's like what, 500 megabytes?
Yeah, it's like 800 megabytes.
Yeah. Fucking was Red Dead like 150 gigabytes?
200, I think.
It's fucking insane. So yeah, that's my whole argument, and I do believe these rumors for the most part. I will see. I'm finally happy that these are substantial rumors from a well-regarded leaker who's quoting such a far time frame, because for years people have been coming at me with I want to say since fucking spring 2019, a few months after Red Dead Redemption 2 launched, people were coming at me with GTA 6 leaks. And it's like, dude, that's not how it works. Look at these time frames. I don't get it. And yeah, I understand GTA 6 is going to be a long jump between GTA 5. But the scale of these two games is going to be fucking wild. I agree with you. I'm annoyed of these same 3 settings. But we're at a point to where when Rockstar just did Red Dead Redemption 2, they included New Austin, and they included New Orleans, and then fucking Colorado and Wyoming, and everything in between. So, like, imagine how big Vice City's going to be. They're straight up just going to do the South, I imagine.
Yeah, like the swamps and the evergreens,
Yeah,
Everglades, or whatever.
just go up the coast, like go up into the Carolinas. Like they're just going to do like the whole Southeast.
Well, that's why everyone's thinking that they're gonna go to like Cuba,
That'd be
Dominican
cool.
Republic, Brazil, like coke running. You know what I mean?
Do a Mexico style thing where Cuba is like in eyesight. It's not Cuba, but it is Cuba, and you could call it New Haven or whatever it was called in Red Dead Redemption.
What was it called in was that Red Dead or GTA 5 that had the expansion? That was GTA 5 where you basically went to Cuba.
Oh yeah, most
For that
recently.
heist.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that thing. But that is all for the news. Jay, before we move into the topic of the show, we've been going for an hour and 34 minutes, and I have not smoked a cigarette. My lungs are aching, baby. I need a cigarette. So
Yeah,
we're gonna.
I got a big stack of freaking Chinese food in the other room.
Oh well, that's a
I'm gonna go
sentence.
take a couple nibbles.
All right, so he's gonna go take a couple nibbles. I'm gonna go take a piss and smoke a cigarette. We'll be back in about 3, 4, 5 minutes or so. Don't go anywhere. Give us a couple minutes. And we are back. We're ending with our closing topic. Last week we did games that aged like a fine wine, games that you go back and play today and they still play just as good as the day you played them at the beginning. But this week we're doing the exact opposite. We're doing games that have aged like sour milk, games that you go back and you're like, why the fuck did I ever like playing this piece of shit garbage video game? Jay, Miss Pac-Man can eat my shit. Her level design fucking sucked, and Mr. Pac-Man was the way to go. Nah, I'm kidding.
You have that backwards, actually.
I don't fucking know.
Hey, real quick. Cool documentary on Netflix about gaming and stuff. It goes by chapters, like with the season. And they talk about the guys that made more money than Namco or whatever because they modified the chips in the arcade machines because people were beating them. And they modified and they were selling the chips and they got the motherboards and they got sued. And then they ended up hiring them to make Miss Pac-Man. And Miss Pac-Man was the difficult version of the original Pac-Man. They knew they could make more money if it was more challenging because people would be dumping more quarters into it. So then Miss Pac-Man was their modded version of Pac-Man. And then they modded Miss Pac-Man and made it, and they did that with arcade cabinets.
Well, I was just fucking joking, Jay. I didn't need a goddamn history lesson.
Hey, I like gaming history. Jesus Christ, get off my case, man.
Hit me with your fucking game that sucks.
Let's see here. Saints Row. 2,
Okay.
to be exact.
Oh, you bastard. Does it not hold up?
No, I don't think it does, bro.
When was the last time you played it?
Up.
I haven't played it in a while, but yeah, I could see it now.
Like PS3, like 12 years ago.
Oh, well, that's...
But I've watched game, but dude, it's just like, I just, see, that was the last one I put on there, and I knew that, like, I was like, what's a game that probably aged like shit? Saints Row, because it was always just a cheap knockoff Grand Theft Auto. But the second game was the first game I ever got on the PS3.
The second game was so dope.
It was, but I don't think it probably does not hold up. Yeah,
I'm looking at some current gameplay here. It ain't looking too hot. I personally, like, thinking about my list, I'm going for the gut with this one. I'm trying to piss someone off. There's like, looking at my list right now, there's only one game I could imagine not pissing someone off, so I'll start off with that one. Homefront: The Revolution. I wanted this game to be so fucking good, so
That's the
badly.
second one, right?
Yeah. I bought it like a couple months ago. Because when it launched, there were just all these horrible bugs and it was just completely broken. I'm thinking like a few years later, like they patched all the bugs out, and they did, but it did not save the game. The game plays like a PS3 game, and it's a mid-gen PS4 game, and it is not fucking good, and it's really upsetting because it's made by Crytek, and
Does it make the first one look good?
the first one was good.
I thought it was, but if you watch YouTube, it's not, apparently. Apparently, it's a sin to like that game. Liked it.
All right, well, fine. We'll just put in Homefront as a general. Fuck you, Homefront. Jay, what's another one you got?
Gun. Do you remember that game? Gun.
Do I remember Gun? Do I remember the 7-barrel shotty like John Gotti? The Knock Johnny. Do I remember scalping motherfuckers? Do I remember the dual peacekeepers? Do I remember upgrading the bow to where it was dynamite sticks and you were exploding motherfuckers? Yeah, Jay, I remember Gun.
All right. Now,
How dare you say that game ages like sour milk?
I bought it on Steam for 25 cents one day.
25 cents?
It was on sale.
Oh my god.
And I played it, and like I have fond memories. I would also say it's one of my favorite games from my childhood. Definitely.
It was a dope story. It was very
It
campy. The bosses were super fun.
It was, but go back and just look at the game, and you're like, wow, this town that felt alive is just like 2 low-res buildings in the middle of just yellow texture and like the woods.
Really? No, I'm talking to Jam. I'm in the middle of a podcast here.
Yeah. No, but like I have fond memories of it. The game was fun and violent and brutal.
It
and,
was
like,
violent as shit.
I remember watching Adam Sessler and X-Play talk about it, and that's why I got it. But it does not look good.
Yeah,
It doesn't look like it plays good.
It
just looks empty.
See, like that's my whole thing is like visually, it's not that like, yeah, it doesn't look good, but like it doesn't look, like terrible. Like, I could play it. But yeah, play wise, it looks like it plays like fucking garbage.
Yeah, you
It
should
looks
try the
like it
PC
plays
port.
really bad.
Try the PC port. Make you want to smash your monitor.
Oh my god. This whole episode is just making me upset. But let me get into my number 10 here. I put a slash here because I couldn't decide which one. Jay, I'll let you choose. Bully or Manhunt?
Now you might think I'm biased, but I'm not. Because I have played both of those games on the PS4 within the last 5 years. And I will.
That's one thing. That's one thing I want to put on the record now. We have to be honest. I don't want any of that bullshit. Like, God, that movie sucked. That movie's awesome. When was the last time you watched that movie? I watched it a couple months ago. I've never believed anyone who has ever said that in that situation ever. Like fucking ever. So like if you're about to tell me you played Gun like a couple months ago, I ain't believing you. So like I need full.
I can show you. I could look the last time I played Gun. I think I lived in this house.
I need full-fledged honesty here.
That was honesty with Gun because I have a very good memory. All right. I remember smacking around the T-ball with you, all right?
The last time I played Manhunt was in like 2014, 2013 maybe.
Last time I played Manhunt, there's a whole video series on my YouTube channel.
Hot garbage.
And a stream on Twitch.
Hot garbage.
In my opinion, plays way better than Bully.
Oh my God, you're out of your mind. That is a bias. I'm not going to say that's a bias. That's you're so
It's the same engine.
Well, no, it's you're so familiar with the controls that you're like okay, that you're like down with Manhunt. Any person out there, go and play those two games back to back, and you tell me which one plays better. And then you can argue about narrative wise, and then gameplay, like you said, graphically, like you said, they're running on the same engine, so they don't graphically look that different between the two. But gameplay, you're out your fucking mind if you think Manhunt.
I said it just plays better.
That's gameplay.
I like brutal shit.
What's your next one?
The original Half-Life, the game that broke down barriers, boy. And guess what? I bought all the fucking Valve games in a pack. Played Half-Life because everyone's like, that's one of the greatest first-person shooters of all time. Game is hot, stinky trash. It is so rough. Like I could barely play Half-Life 2 now, let alone Half-Life 1.
You're out of your fucking mind.
No.
We might have to cancel this podcast. Who are you? No, that's insane. God. It plays very well. It looks like hot garbage, I'll give you that. It's the polygonal era. It's big empty rooms with 2 or 3 guys that give you a fucking challenge, but fucking A. Now I'm starting to think of even any of mine are going to affect you as much as you've affected me. All right, no, fuck this. I'm jumping straight to number 1. Pretty much any Bethesda software game. You when you mentioned Fallout 76 earlier, that's and I said, I'll bring that up later. Yeah. Pretty much any Bethesda game since was it Oblivion, I would say. The only thing these games have going for them is narrative and story. And that is it. The games play like shit. They look like shit. They run like I'm going to pause myself before I say something very vulgar. It began with cunt. It was going to start with cunt. They're bad games. Narratively, yeah, no, sure. Fallout New Vegas, one of the greatest games of all time. Visually, I have taken shits that I will look at for longer and have more appreciation for. The gameplay is that of a child.
Oblivion looks better than the Fallout games, though. If you look back, Oblivion still looks better than most of them.
Okay, still looks like fuck all. Still looks terrible. Like in Skyrim's best light in 2011, running on the hottest PC, hot garbage, jaggedy ass, rigged mountains, fucking blotchy ass, faces talking to you. And then fucking combat, I'll swing my sword down in a real basic, boring ass manner. Fucking, what was it? VATS literally existed. VATS exist because the gameplay and combat suck so badly. That's true. That is true. Like, you can go and look that up in like GameFAQs. Like, VATS exist because the gameplay sucks. And it needed that to be playable.
I thought it was to preserve the whole, what's it called? Turn-based deal that the originals were.
Nah.
Because you know it go.
Yeah, I mean,
Wasteland is Fallout. Like.
Yeah, no, I got, yeah. But coming from someone who has played countless JRPGs and are debatably his favorite genre video game, Fallout 4's VATS do not simulate turn-based combat in any way, shape, or form. That's something you read. That's not like something you play the game for like 20 hours and you're like, oh, this is, like this, this is kind of like, like this might be them, like fixing, this might be, how they're changing the game, blah, blah, blah. No, it's one of those things you read on IGN where like, did you know vets are actually, there, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, no, I didn't know that. And then you read, another article. It's like, oh, did you know vets are there because the game doesn't fucking run well? It's like, oh, I could have guessed that one. But yeah, no, the games just run fucking terribly. No matter what you're playing them on, you could be playing 1440p, 144 FPS. The gameplay does not feel good. It does not look good in any situation. And I have a lot of high hopes for their new engine that they're using for Starfield and shit. But Jay, I feel like I just pissed you off as much as you pissed me off with your two. So give me another one here.
I'll give you one we'll agree on, and then I'll really dig deep.
We better agree.
Assassin's Creed 1. For the time, you remember being a little kid playing it? It was like, wow. I was wowed.
No, for sure. Like I'm agreeing with you. Like that game was at the time revolutionary. There was no open world game where you could just free climb and run around like that. Prototype was like the next closest thing that came the year or two after, and then Infamous.
Spider-Man 2 doesn't count.
No. And then Infamous, that was another game that was similar to where you were climbing buildings by hand, parkour style. And that one was within a similar time frame. But both of those games did it a hell of a lot better than Assassin's Creed 1 did, because yeah, Assassin's Creed 1 is fucking hot garbage.
It's bad. It's now almost unplayable. Like, I feel bad for kids that were literally not alive or old enough to play it when it came out, and now they're like, oh, I love fucking Odyssey. We'll go back and play the first one, and they're like, this is trash. And then the worst thing happens. They skip the second one.
The fucking good one.
Yeah, like they're like, oh, if these ones are all trash, then I'm just like, no, dude, you can't not play Assassin's Creed 2. It's one of like the best video games of all time.
It's what built what Assassin's Creed was going to be for the next decade. Yeah, no, we both agree on that. Yeah, that first game, it plays like shit, it runs like shit, and it again looks like shit. It was like just super high contrasty, super saturated. It was like everything was gray and white, and then they just cranked up saturation. It was wild. The game, go and look that game up. That's one I don't have to look up now. That game actually looks like really bad. But like I was saying, it did set up really cool ideas and concepts. Like we had never had a game where you were free running and you would just walk up to a dude and stick him real quick and walk away, and he just drops dead, and the crowd reacted. And I remember, what was it? Like one of the big things was you couldn't sprint through the crowd. If you ran through the crowd and you bumped into enough people, you'd fall.
You'd be like moving.
You would fall down after a certain amount of time. You would there was a skill you would unlock to where you could straight up like fucking stiff arm people.
I just like the little details. Like you'd get the annoying guys, the kind of like not all there, and they would like throw you to the ground.
Yeah.
And like little thing, or like my favorite was that was the first time we as like gamers ever experienced like the character really like when you walked up to a wall, he pushed his arms up to the wall, or like when you're walking through a crowd of people, you're like tapping people on the shoulder, moving through something that Hitman Absolution have been without that.
They did a lot of really cool stuff with stealth, like when like the hooded like priest, like like they did a lot of really cool stuff like that didn't happen before. The haystacks, of course. So yeah, I agree with you. That first one was really bad, but it did set the stone for what the rest of them would become.
It has a little twinkle in my eye.
I got a couple more here that aren't too big that I'm just going to clear through. Final Fantasy X. people regard this, people always talk about this as like one of the great Final Fantasies. I think it's one of the terrible Final Fantasies, and where the genre and game that's mainly really fell off a cliff. You've seen that laugh, right? The Final Fantasy X laugh. I know you've seen it. Hold on. There's probably a fucking there's probably like a 10-hour long video of it just on repeat.
Here, let me look it up.
Nah, I'm pulling it up on my own right here. Here.
Wait, I can't hear because it's Discord. I have to turn on the stream.
Hey, watch.
Just give me like the 30-second scene.
Hey, you got pretty good.
Here we go.
You probably shouldn't laugh anymore.
Oh my god. I've seen enough. Are they doing it together?
It's like people try and argue that it's like, oh, it's supposed to be that bad. The voice acting is supposed to be that terrible. No, it's not. And I'm sorry, voice acting goes a long way in a video game in the sense of it can straight up fucking ruin a video game. And in Final Fantasy VII, it was ruined. That and fucking Blitzball, not good. Like, do not play. I mean, it's hard to say don't play Final Fantasy X. But in my opinion, don't play Final Fantasy X. Those graphics, I mean, that polygonal era isn't too far off from Final Fantasy IX or Final Fantasy VIII or Final Fantasy VII. You're just go and play any of those games. God damn you, Jay. I know you got nothing to say basically in Final Fantasy. So whatever you got.
All it is to me, a fantasy. All right, let's see here. Let's see if I can find one. A game that hasn't aged well. You ready for this one?
I don't know.
It's one of our favorite games as a kid. And looking back on the series as a whole, it was definitely one of the worst. Tony Hawk's American Wasteland.
Woo!
Dude, that was the most pointless game in the whole series, the most pointless story, the whole no loading times. We're just going to put you on a bike and give you a rail and a hallway to grind, and we're going to still freeze the game. Oh, it's not a loading screen because there's no loading bar, but they just freeze the game in time to load it. The only thing that is good about that game was the soundtrack.
Jay, I'm going to be honest with you. American Wasteland is my favorite Tony Hawk.
I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, like the story and the narrative and the characters.
It's one of my favorites.
No, I was going to say those are all fucking terrible. I hate all of the characters. I hate the whole story, but I love creating my own character. I love that whole create a character scene. I love the LA, like I love all of the maps. I love the skill, like the different, like how they like, dude, you could do so many fucking flips. It was insane in that game. And then, yeah,
that in Thug 2 as well. Right?
And then incorporating BMX. They're like, yeah, okay, we're just going to turn Tony Hawk into a BMX game too. Like lightweight. No big deal. Like there were totally BMX mechanics in that game.
Oh, it
like
was the Matt Hoffman engine.
Yeah, like full fledged. Like when you went down the fucking ramp backwards, you got a bar that popped up. It annoyed the shit out of me every time. Like you had like a switch bar. No, American Wasteland, gameplay wise was my favorite. Narrative wise, oh my god, dude, hot fucking garbage. I don't even remember what the narrative was.
I don't even think those games can compare to Thug 1 and 2 with just overall like.
Of course not. course not.
Those two are chef's kiss, and even 4. I love Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4.
Oh, sure.
That's my favorite one out of the first 4.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I would say no. I would say no to Thug 2. Thug 1 is fucking awesome. I did not like Thug 2. It was a different
Really?
game. Yeah, it was weird. Thug 2 tried to do a weird blend of what Thug 1 was and then also what Tony Hawk originally was. To where like they tried to attach like challenges to each of the story missions, where in Thug each one of the story missions was way more just narrative driven, where it had like, it had some of the old school.
Remember when you had to run from like in Russia? It was like night
Yeah.
vision. You had to get. Oh my god, I remember that.
Thug 1 is fucking great. Is that game on Steam?
No, but Thug. I think they have like a open source on the PC. And it has every map from like the whole series in Thug 2's engine or something.
Of course they do. I'm gonna clock out these 2 in one run because I don't know if we'll have too much to say about either of them. Metal Gear Solid 1. Shocker, I know.
I can't watch it on Twitch. It's hard to watch.
Shocker, I know. One of my favorite video games of all time. It was at the peak at the beginning of the polygonal era. It was top down with tank controls, with first person shooting. It was all fucking over the place. When it came out, that was all great. Now you don't know what the fuck you're doing. I've tried playing that game recently and it is not easy. Maybe that's because I'm playing on mouse and keyboard because I don't have a fucking DualShock 1. But that's a hard game. And then my other one is Far Cry 1 plus its expansions.
I almost thought about putting that on the list when I was at work, but I kind of peeked and saw you took it.
Yeah, Far Cry 1, great narratively, great story, great setup, really impactful for where it was, similar to Assassin's Creed, very impactful for where it was at the time in gaming. But if you go back and play that game, it's not like Crysis, its predecessor. Crysis came out before Far Cry, right? Or was Crysis after Far Cry?
I'm not sure.
I'm going to look that up real quick just because I don't want to be super wrong. Was Crysis before or after Far Cry? As with Crytek's previous game, Far Cry, Crysis is as with Crytek's previous game, Far Cry, Crysis is a first-person shooter game with many ways to meet objectives. Okay, what's the difference though in time frame? Okay, only 2 years. All right, so that's not a big jump. Or at least not a big enough jump to explain the fact that Crysis to this day is still like one of the number one benchmarked games on PC. Like that was the go-to. Like if your PC can run this at max, like you have the god tier PC. Honestly, with the remastered game, I'm pretty sure it's still the same situation.
I have it on the Switch.
Oh my god. I'm pretty sure in the PC settings, like the graphic settings on the PC, there's like god tier settings or some shit like that. Which I've been wanting to check it out because I never played the original Crysis, but I did play the original Far Cry and it fucking sucks. Like it does not play well, and
the original Far Cry and Far Cry 2 are basically tech demos.
The original Far Cry 2, like its expansion, or like the Far Cry 2 that you and me love so much?
Yeah. That one.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Those are basically big, fluffed out tech demos.
Damn, that's upsetting.
And look at all the wasted tech with Far Cry 2.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Far Cry 1 sucks. So I just knocked out those two, Jay. So why don't you hit me with one?
A game that I remember fondly, but every time I'm at someone's house and I'm in their basement and I'm like, dude, does that work? And they're like, yeah, and we try to play it. It's dog shit. Guitar Hero 1 and 2.
Damn.
There's another
What
example.
don't they do they not play well, or because my issues
They're
with Guitar Heroes was always the licensing. The music, like a lot of the
no, yeah,
music
yeah.
was never, it was always covers, and that just, it turned me off
Well,
immediately.
here, this is why. This is what happened. I recently watched like a documentary about it on fucking YouTube too. So Guitar Hero 1 and 2. 1 was basically a tech demo. 2 was just a little refined, and they had to do the covers because they couldn't get the
Killing my lights.
licensing. And it wasn't until Guitar Hero 3 when they got the backing from Microsoft or whoever, Activision. And once that happened, that's when they refined it. So like if you go back and play Guitar Hero 1 and 2, everything feels delayed because the what's the word I'm looking for? Calibration is all off. And Guitar Hero 1 didn't have hammer-ons. Guitar Hero 2's hammer-ons barely worked half the time. And then Guitar Hero 3 was when they had the AAA budget, and they got all the licensing for all the songs. But yeah, it's hard to go back and play those games, remembering, like, I'll never forget, like, jamming out Sweet Child of Mine on Expert.
Are there, you're the person to ask for this, are there good, like, is Guitar Hero on PC? Are there Guitar Hero mods to where, like, there's just whatever?
There's an open source. It's free on PC, and it has all the songs. It runs on Guitar Hero 3's engine. It has all the songs, and then you can put like your own songs, and there's like a whole library. The issue is, and it's the same issue I've been having, good fucking luck finding a USB Guitar Hero controller. Good luck, and good luck for finding one for under like $250.
I've heard that a lot, and like that pissed me off in the sense of, dude, I had a closet full. I think we
Filled
just
with Guitar Hero shit.
I
Me
think
too.
I think we just threw them away because like GameStop was offering us like $2 for each of them, and it's like, this is not fucking worth it.
I had the Kramer, I had the SG, I had the Les Paul, dude. I had ordered up from China a Flying V, and then I like painted it like Eddie Van Halen stripes. Like, yeah, but no, the first two games are trash.
Let's see here. Let's just start cranking through some of these. Let's see. This is another one. I want to save some of my heavy. I only got a few heavy hitters here left. Silent Hill. I was torn between including Silent Hill or Resident Evil. Again, I can't reiterate this enough. Polygonal era, probably the most hideous era in video game history. I grew up with it, so that's the only way I'm able to fucking bear it. But if you were to show a 9-year-old today, Final Fantasy VII, Ocarina of Time,
Atari.
Yeah, it'd be what the fuck.
You used to play that?
Yeah, and Silent Hill. On top of all of that, they had the tank controls. The tank.
Fog,
yeah, I mean the
fog open. Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. They have tank controls, and if you like if you're familiar with tank controls, it's the idea of there's a camera in the corner of the room, and you got to control your guy walking around the room. It's super frustrating. It's terrible. It never worked, and it never will work. And going back to tank controls is it's terrible.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. I mean, everything outside of that in Silent Hill is amazing. The whole narrative, everything about the story, the Pyramid Head, it's all fucking great. But
I like how they were able to keep the bad, like field of view, like the render distance. I like how they were able to cover their ass with the render distance with the fog.
For sure, yeah.
during that time.
Yeah,
Like, it
no.
was like I can't see shit in front of me. Well, guess what? If like we took the fog a little look away, you wouldn't see shit in front of you anyway.
Yeah, no, 100%. It was a really small technical technical slip. What's another one you got?
Hitman 2 and Hitman Contracts.
Damn! I did not see you throwing out Hitman.
I know, but like I talk about bad movement, talk about both games being overly hard and difficult. Like the AI is just impossible to handle. Like finally in Blood Money they like worked it out, you know. But like those games just 47 handles like shit. I hate like I have to hold down a button to run, or else you're just at this super snail crawl walk, you know, like, and it's just like the games are designed well and they have like cool features and they were groundbreaking for the time, but like Hitman 2 came out. Hitman Blood Money was supposed to come out, but they were having issues working on it, so they like subbed it out and basically made Contracts into a greatest hits of the original game on the PC. So it's just a bunch of reimagined levels from the first game with like 2 new ones. And it's the whole game is 47 hallucinating and remembering his old shit. So like I don't know, I just never like I'm always a big Hitman fan and Hitman 2 was the one, but golly. Difficult to get through. I could play Hitman Blood Money all day, but those game rough. And then I guess I could throw another one out since you threw out a double. Let's see here. Halo Combat Evolved.
You just throw that out, dude. Like what? Like visually, like narrative, like gameplay. Halo is solid. That's what Halo like.
Know.
Okay, do you think Quake sucks too?
Never played Quake.
Team Deathmatch or Ultimate what is it? You know what I'm talking about?
Slayer?
Ultimate Tournament.
Unreal Tournament?
Unreal Tournament.
What about it?
Do you not like Unreal Tournament?
No, I never played it.
You what?
I played it on a demo disc once for Xbox Magazine.
Oh my god, dude. Oh my god.
I never had access to like online play or anything like that.
Yo,
as a
is
kid.
that on Steam? Like, what's Unreal
We looked
Tournament?
this up last time.
We looked up Battlefield 4 last time, bro. We did not look up Unreal Tournament.
You looked up Unreal Tournament. You were like, they even got the second one on here.
Did I say that?
Yes.
Well, bro, what do you got against Halo? Like, again.
I don't know. There's another tech demo.
You're blasphemous.
I don't know. I just threw that one in there. The last one I can get behind. All right, then we'll skip over that one, and I'll throw my banger out and ruin your day even more. Grand Theft Auto 3 and Vice City. And San Andreas, for that matter. The 3D Grand Theft Auto games have not aged well at all. They've aged like rotten, dinky cheese.
Just, I agree with you 100% there. Just real quick, how is Unreal Tournament 3 still $20? It's not even on sale. That's fucking unbelievable. Add this to your wish list and get it when it's like $10. Seriously, you will not regret it. This is one of the, if not my favorite first-person shooter of all time. I grew up playing this game. This was like what I played when I was a child. Unfortunately,
I played James Bond.
But no, yeah, the GTAs, I agree with you 100%. They're
terrible.
They don't age well. Again, narratively, they're still amazing. Graphically, again, we grew up in that era, so we can, handle it. Younger people might be a little, harsher on it. But what is really difficult was I remember I went over to my buddy's house and he had a PS2 hooked up, and I saw the GTA Vice City on the shelf. I was like, holy shit, dude, I haven't played this game in like a fucking decade. And I I popped it in and I put it in, and I was so disoriented because
Trails.
when you would use the right joystick, he would come to a dead halt and it would jump into first person. And you would just stand still and you could look around in first person with the right joystick. Otherwise, everything was fixed camera angles. And I'm like, how the fuck did anyone play like this?
Yep.
And yeah, that's how the first Vice City, or not Vice City, San Andreas, they may have gotten rid of the fixed camera angles. I think
they did because every gun was lockable. Remember in
yeah,
Vice City, like the M16 could only you can lock on with like the handgun, but then the M16 was only like the circle on the screen.
Yeah, I remember that.
Else.
So yeah, hot garbage. And how many more games you got there?
I think that's it because I didn't have 10.
All right, so I'll knock out my 2 more here. What do I got? Or I got 3 more actually. So we'll just go through this. We'll go through this last one real quick. Tomb Raider. The original Tomb Raider on the PlayStation 1. It was a game that tried really hard to be an action, fast-paced third-person shooter, and from my understanding, it might have been one of the first third-person shooters. I know you're in the middle of eating.
Sorry, I don't want it to get cold.
No, yeah, no, for sure.
No, it was like the first polygonal 3D action platformer.
Yeah.
Where you can shoot and flip and climb shit, and I have fond memories of playing that. And the second one, locking the butler in the cooler.
I remember playing as Lara Croft naked. That was a fucking dope cheat. Them big ass pointed titties.
Yeah, big old triangles.
Them pyramids. But yeah, no, at this point we're just naming games that have aged like shit. These two, I feel like could get under some people's skin. Number 7, GoldenEye.
Not too long ago,
bro. One of my favorite games of all time. You can't play it.
I can.
With a fucking Nintendo 64 controller.
Yeah.
Bro, you're pulling my leg.
I told you, at my mom's house, they have a tube TV set up with an N64 at all times. I
got an adapter. You don't need a tube TV, motherfucker. Come over here right now and show me how you play GoldenEye. I don't know how I did that as a child.
Left hand on joystick with and this finger on the trigger, and then you had A and B,
yeah,
and your trigger and your C buttons, and that's all you needed. You didn't need the
C buttons were on the other side. You would have to move your thumb over from the joystick to get to the C buttons.
No.
Yeah.
Because your left thumb is on the joystick and the C buttons are on the right side of the controller.
No, the C buttons were on the left side. And the A and B were on the right side.
A and B was with the C.
Motherfucker! I'm not Googling it. I'm grabbing my...
He's gonna be wrong.
Son of a bitch! Son of a bitch! Son of a bitch! He's right. That's the right side. Well, then what the fuck did you use the fucking D-pad for?
You only use the D-pad when you pause the game and went into the watch.
Bro, fuck GoldenEye. All right.
Now you're like, dude, I kind of really want to play GoldenEye.
Well, now I need to fucking set up the whole Nintendo 64 and figure out where I've been going wrong. Dude, I remember having to come to a standstill and then using the joystick to fucking aim the what was it?
No.
You would run and then you would stop and then you would hold Z or some shit and then you could aim with the cursor with the joystick and that's how you fire.
All right, you ready? You ready for this?
You just play Odd Job and you're just short and can't get fucking shot the whole time.
No. Left hand, finger on the trigger, left thumb right here. When you move, you walk and move and it auto aims. Right? It walks, moves, and auto aims, and then if you need to, zoom with the little red crosshair, both triggers do the same exact thing. They're ambidextrous.
Yo, I can't even lie right now. This controller feels really good.
It does, and out of every controller, I wish they would just re-release those controllers.
No, I mean this controller's ergonomics are completely fucking terrible, and I don't know who was the asshole who decided that this was a good design for a controller. I mean, right now,
first-person shooter, it was sick.
I mean, right now in its current state, this joystick feels really good. Right now, if I a normal fucking N64 controller, the joystick would be wonky. If I would flick it, and that would be boing. But no, the buttons are super pressy. Still Nintendo brand. Hell yeah, good quality controller. So yeah,
had a red one.
That's my second to last one. Let me just double check here. My final one is one I hope we can all agree on. And again, just doubling down, if you've noticed, just about all of my games have been from the polygonal era. They all just visually look terrible, and that does not set the stone for anything good. Mario 64.
It was on mine. I saw you had it, and I deleted it.
Even
on 3D All Stars, it's trash.
You could put Ocarina of Time too. Just any of those 3D Mario games from that era do not play well at all. The fixed camera angles, the shitty Nintendo 64 controller, everything about those old school games is fucking bad.
I have to agree. Couldn't even play that shit on the Switch. I was looking into USB N64 style controllers to play that game. And then I just uninstalled 3D All Stars, so I was like, this is a complete waste of fucking money. I'm never going to play these games.
I have 3D All Stars still in its saran wrap on my shelf. I'm hoping that'll be worth money someday.
Maybe, because they took it off the store.
Yeah, for sure. And they took it off the shelves too.
But Why?
I don't know. I have no idea.
They're probably like, kids don't want to play these games.
I have no idea. I really don't. I think they really think that maybe they want the scalpers thing to go up. But I have no idea. But is that all we got here, Jay?
Yeah.
All right. We've been going for 2.5 hours now. We've been doing long these last couple episodes, so we're going to try and cut them a bit shorter, but this has been Punk with a Controller. You can catch us live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fridays over at twitch.tv/punkwithacontroller. Twitch.tv/punkwithacontroller. Sorry, I kind of phased out on that one. I am Paul Sabo. This is Jay Hamilton. Go over to twitch.tv/LordxHam. Show him some support. He's clicking heads and popping domes over during the weekends. He's usually streaming Mondays and Wednesdays.
We're playing Tarkov, motherfuckers. Go get your Tarky on.
Go subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know exactly when he's going live. Hit the notification bell here because we also go live Mondays and Wednesdays, and we're keeping up with all the latest home console games and PS5, just basic, console games. Last week we just wrapped up the Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart game, and that was a whole lot of fun. If you've missed any of these episodes of the podcast, you go over to youtube.com/punkwithacontroller. You can find all 12 episodes there. Now, this one will be up Sunday at 7:30 p.m. I don't know if you heard me, Jay, but I forget to hit record again. So let's hope that Twitch's archives aren't broken. Have a nice night. We'll see you guys soon.
Later.